Hi, how's it going?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure, man. How's your day going?
It's going good. It's going even better now. Being able to talk about some great music and a great new rendition of that music, which is going to be coming out in just a couple short weeks now.
That's right. Yeah, we're excited.
Oh, awesome. Well, again, it's great to be able to talk to you about this. And I really love the concept of how this all came together too, like being able to pick like a great collection of the songs that you've recorded and being able to have some orchestral arrangement along with it. It just adds another layer of emotion that I didn't even know that the songs could bring out because they're already chock full of great emotion with those songs, but adding the strings on top of it just adds a whole new layer to it.
Yeah, you're right. Uh, we kind of had that. We had a feeling that a lot of these songs would sort of, yeah, kind of take on um, a new emotional palette, if you will. But I mean, to kind of have the idea and then to actually be there in the room and feel it yourself. Yeah, it was a really special thing for us as well because it was you're kind of used to playing as five guys, and then all of a sudden, yeah, you've got this a bunch of other musicians adding this these other textures and stuff, and yeah, it was just a wicked thing to be a part of.
When you look back on it now and you got to see the final product, I mean, obviously a great feeling being in the moment, but what's it like looking back at it now?
Yeah, looking back at it, I mean the we had the video premiere for it, um, and it was I'd come to my parents' place, and a bunch of friends came over, and we all sort of watched it together, and it was sort of the first time I had seen the final product, if you will, with all the video cuts all finished and all the music mixed and mastered, and yeah, it was kind of amazing to watch. I mean, like, for me myself, I'm usually quite a perfectionist, and I find it hard to uh, listen to myself a lot because you're honing in on the things you wish you did better and all this. But I felt that watching the Atlantis show, I was able to just kind of watch it and feel proud that uh, that it all came together so well. And yeah, I felt like I kind of watched it as a fan. It was quite a different experience, and yeah, we felt really proud with how the whole thing turned out. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great to hear that you were able to take yourself out of it when you were looking back on it because any musician when they're able to like look back at any kind of footage when or if they're listening to a new album or anything like that when it's just like there's so many things that they can like take apart and wish they would have done something different or wish this would have went different, but when you're able to just like look at the whole landscape of it all and just really appreciate everything that happens from start to finish, that is quite the feat.
Yeah, it's yeah, like I said, that kind of thing, it doesn't happen a lot for me. Um, so it was kind of a refreshing experience for sure.
Oh, for sure. So thinking about that as well too, I mean, like, where did the idea come from to do something like this?
Um, I think we sort of we toyed around with the idea. I think maybe Martin thought of it. I can't remember who was the first to think of it. It was probably Martin. Um, but yeah, we knew we were this a band that is capable of um, you know writing. I mean, we knew that we could do the ballads kind of things. We have that already in our music, and and we thought, what if we took our heavy songs and kind of balladized them, if you will, made them softer and reimagined them. And yeah, it was something that we toyed around with the idea for a while. We thought that could be a cool thing to do, and then of course we thought, well, how sick would it be if we recorded it in one of the most famous studios in Scandinavia. And so we just went for it. We went for it, and Lars did an excellent job doing the arrangements for the strings and the extra piano. And we had actually attempted to do this sort of in the middle of COVID, and we were a little bit naive with all the border controls going on. So I had actually got to the airports. I was flying out of Toronto. I got to the Toronto airport, and yeah, they said, no, you can't fly to Sweden right now. I was like, are you kidding? And yeah, the guys, they had no idea that there was even that the Swedish borders were closed and stuff. They thought things were just kind of running as normal. And yeah, we had to reschedule everything, and luckily it all worked out in the end. Um, but yeah, really, really, really a special experience for sure.
So, with that in mind, I mean, what was it like deciding what songs were going to be a part of this experience?
Yeah, it was a mix between having songs that are, of course, your most popular songs, and then songs that are, I mean, we wanted to include obviously a fair amount of tunes from Imperial, since that was the most recent record, and yeah, I mean, some songs were just based on a hunch. I think this song is going to sound cool, dumbed down. Um, so yeah, we recorded a bunch, and there was a few songs that we actually didn't end up using. They didn't turn out as good as we'd hoped, but that's the way it goes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that stuff happens all the time, but I'm really glad to see the songs that did make it through and did make the cuts, because it does feel very seamless together when you listen to it from start to finish. And I imagine watching it as well too when that opportunity arrives for me. I mean, I can't wait to be able to see the visuals that go along with it.
Yeah, the visuals are it's fantastic. I mean, the videographers did an incredible job with the shots, and really, um, one worry we had when we were recording this was that the videographers wanted us to kind of just be stationary, and Lars and I sort of had this idea that we'd be standing and maybe moving around a little bit. But yeah, they wanted us to be stationary, and they said, don't worry about, um, don't have a fear that there's going to be like a lack of energy or whatever, because there's a lot of energy that happens from the camera cuts and just kind of, you know, seeing everything happening in action. And so yeah, the visuals really they add a really nice element to it, and it's very the way that it was lit is very warm, and it just kind of matches the vibe of it perfectly, I would say.
Oh, it's so great to hear that, and I'm so glad that Atlantis has turned out the way that it has too. I mean, especially with the album coming out last year and seeing the rise of the band continuing with every subsequent year. Just just like the bigger the fan base happening, and being able to release something like this during the kind of turbulent times around the world, and being able to appreciate something that's much more melodic and more emotional, and just being able to appreciate these songs before some really cool stuff that's going to be coming up for the end of the year for you guys as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's great. It's nice to have this album now. I think it might reach an audience that might not have chosen to check us out prior to this. I mean, that's a kind of the cool thing about Soen is I know a lot of people that they listen to the band. They're not even really metal fans, but they like Soen. So I think it's accessible in a way that it's not not because it's like pop music or anything, but I think it speaks to people, and I guess that's just kind of what we're going for. Um, but yeah, it's nice to kind of have this Atlantis thing in our back pocket now because of course we like to do we've done a couple of shows as well, the Atlantis shows, and those have been great. And the reactions we get from the audience in those shows is completely different. And sometimes we're playing this show back to back with a heavy show, and it's just a completely different experience both nights. And yeah, it's it's fun to see how the audience reacts to the softer sets. It's a lot more weight, a lot more swaying back and forth and tears and stuff like that than head banging. So it's quite nice.
And with it, how is that for you as well, being able to perform these songs in different ways?
Yeah, it's great. It's 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 great. It keeps things refreshing, right? I mean, of course, when you embark on a tour and you prepare a set list, you basically play this same set list for a full year. You might make some minor changes here and there, but um, you know, for the most part, it's going to be the same songs, which is fine in a way. Like I love. There's something wonderful about playing the same song for the 100th time. I mean, it's like you don't have to think about it. You can just perform and have fun. So that's a really nice thing. But of course, sometimes you have those days inevitably where you're feeling a little bit like, this song again. So it's a nice refreshing way to kind of yeah, spruce things up a bit, and it keeps it interesting for the band, definitely.
Oh, for sure. And it does help with so many different variables that go along with that, whether you're doing the Atlanta shows, whether you're doing the heavy shows, being able to hit territories that you haven't hit before or different cities that you haven't played before. And that's what's so cool about what's coming up at the end of the month is seeing that you guys are doing a full scale North American tour and just like seeing all the dates that are going along with it. It's so cool to see you guys doing a tour like that coming up.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Long time coming, right? I mean, Soen has been around for I guess 10 years, over 10 years at this point, and yeah, we haven't been to the U.S. and it's time. It's time. I mean, of course it's hard to get to the U.S. Because of all the visas and the extra kind of costs and stuff, and for a lot of these guys, it's you know this band is kind of their primary source of income, right? And they've got kids to feed, and so we have to make sure that if we're going to go on a tour, we're not going to be coming back down $30,000. It's not gonna help. So it's yeah. So we're in a position now where we can do it, and yeah, I think it's everything is set in place for it to be a successful tour. So we're really excited to meet the American audience, man.
Oh, definitely. And just like I was talking about before, I mean, it's just like I love seeing the rise of the band over the years, especially over the last couple years. And, just like the fact that the band is in a position to be able to do a tour like this and being able to pull off a great headlining set, being able to bring a great lineup with you as well, too, for openers. I mean, that just sounds like it's going to be a perfect night with everyone involved.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's always important to us that we find um, some good openers as well. I think it's one thing for your own band to put on a good show, but you have to think about the entire night for the fans, right? And there's just so many good and up and coming bands out there nowadays that it's fun to just try to find yeah, I try to build a lineup that that is not too, I mean, not too pigeonholed. I mean, you don't want to have kind of this the same band or the same sort of thing three times in the night. So it's nice to kind of bring in some bands that the fans might not have checked out otherwise, but are still in the realm of what we do. Um, so yeah, well, we're excited. Yeah, this two Oceans of Slumber and Black Satellite, both great bands. So it's going to be fun, and of course it's always fun for us to, it's we're going to be listening to this stuff every night too. It's important that these bands are good. So yeah.
Oh, it's so true, and you want to make sure that you're going out on tour with bands that you like, musicians that you like, a road crew that you can get along with. It's just it makes touring so much easier when everything is lined up the way that it should be. And obviously, with like a band like Oceans of Slumber, who put out such a great album this year, and of course, Black
Mm.
Satellites being able to open up the whole night, and it's a great diverse package, which I appreciate too, because Soen already has so many different kinds of layers, and then both Black Satellites and Oceans of Slumber add a different kind of layer to it as well. So it's like you're not going to get bored of any particular one style or anything, because it is such a well-rounded, diverse lineup.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, uh, every time a band gets up that night, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be sort of its own thing, but it's going to make, it's going to be a cohesive mix of sound. So, um, but yeah, we're touring with these guys for a month, and it's also important. You're sharing a tour bus a lot of the time, and um, it's always a big bonus when they're great musicians and great people. And so far, we've been quite lucky. I mean, we've a lot of the tours we've done so far. The bands we've brought along, I mean, they've become good friends to us. We really love them, and so yeah, we're looking forward to meeting these guys.
Oh, that's so great to hear. So obviously, I mean, we're already getting towards the end of the year and stuff, and I mean, this is a great way to be able to start closing out 2022 with such a great tour, with everything going in the right direction. Is anything in the works yet for 2023?
2023, yeah. I mean, right now we're writing and recording, and so the Soen train, it never stops. I mean, it's basically as soon as you release an album, you got to start working on the next one, right? Um, and so yeah, that's kind of what we've been busy doing lately. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of festivals next year. Hopefully, playing a lot of cities that we haven't played yet. That maybe we've missed on some previous tours, and yeah, hopefully recording another record, assuming everything goes well.
Oh, that's so great to hear. I mean, obviously working with the festival circuit and being able to hit more areas next year, but also thinking about the next release as well too. I mean, obviously, like you said, as soon as you're done with one record, you got to start thinking about the next. With that, is it like too early to tell like what to expect from the next album, or is there anything you can talk about yet?
The next album, I mean, there's I think naturally it's the way Soen kind of works is, or the way Soen seems to evolve is that yeah, there is always a slight evolution in the sound, uh, but at the same time, still very much a Soen record. Uh, Lots of sort of anthemic sort of choruses again, and of course we always love to keep the groove. The groove and the riffs is always very important. um yeah, I mean, it's still kind of early right now, but yeah, it's sounding very promising. We're stoked about it.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, and that is what draws me to the band. I mean, is the fact that it does maintain that core sound of what the band is, but it's not afraid to be able to show off different layers or do a little bit more experimentation or just trying different things, even if it's just for one song or
Mhm.
several songs on an album. But just maintaining what works, but not afraid to being able to branch out. So hearing that, that's got me very excited to see what will happen in the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I think the band has really come into its identity in the past couple of records, and so yeah, I think yeah, the identity is there, and then of course you leave a little bit of room for growth and evolution and experimentation. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Sometimes uh, when you have the demos, they might sound like one thing, but as soon as it actually gets into a studio, it comes out completely different. So that's the fun part for us as well.
Oh, definitely. And like you mentioned just a second ago, it's just like the band really finding its sound over the last couple years, and of course, you being a part of that for the last several years as well too. I mean, that's got to be a great feeling to be able to know that you're helping with that identity and being able to really help the band flourish and be able to make the band at its peak achievement right now so far.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it was coming in after Marcus Judell was, big shoes to fill. He's incredible, incredible guitar player. I mean, really, really amazing guitar player. Um, but yeah, I mean, one of the reasons they kind of brought me in was they liked my feel and thought it really, you know, it resonated with them and it fit the vibe of the music really well. And so yeah, I guess now naturally you're seeing a lot more solos throughout a record, whereas the first couple of records I don't think had any solos. Lakaya I think has one solo, one or two, and but um, but yeah, I mean that's one thing I love to do. I mean, composing solos. Yeah, I mean that's the thing that it's it's what is fun for me in music. I mean, I love that kind of thing. I mean, it drives me insane at the same time. I mean, I could spend a week or two just overthinking it and then do this, end up doing the simple thing, of course. But uh, yeah, it's a nice feeling for sure. And these guys have yeah, just been so great to me since I joined the band, and they've really become brothers and family at this point. So yeah, I feel really at home in this band, and the fans are, they've really embraced me since day one as well. So it's been a pretty seamless transition for me, actually.
Oh, so cool. So thinking about that as well too, like how would you feel that you've grown as a musician ever since you were able to join up with these guys?
Oh, uh, I mean, massively, massively. It's maybe not something I notice as much as maybe somebody else, um, but but coming into this band, I'd never really been in a band that had this sort of level of musicianship. And so, naturally, when you have these amazing musicians around you, it really pushes you to become a better musician. You can't, and I'm somebody who's quite hard on myself, if you will. I want to, uh, you know, be the best musician I can be. And um, yeah, I remember, I think one of the biggest things joining the band was just understanding uh, the rhythms of Martin Lopez, right? Because you've got these very Latin rhythms, and as a white boy, that shit is hard to count sometimes. But I find now, 4 or 5 years into the band, it's coming a lot more naturally to me, and I'm starting to be able to even write stuff that is more in that vein and that style, and it's groovy and it's syncopated, but it's not it's never without purpose, and I would say that's probably the biggest thing for me is just my sense of time has gotten a lot better. Something I can feel for sure.
Oh, definitely. And Martin is like one of my biggest drumming influences from his past bands, and of course with Soen, and just seeing the evolution of his playing ever since the beginning of Soen to what he's doing now, and just hearing everyone involved just like continuously getting better and better. And like I mentioned before, I feel like you guys are like at the peak so far. Like I'm like with the previous album, I feel like it's the best work of the band so far, and it's got me excited to see what's going to be happening in the future. And everyone that's going to be able to check out the tour that's going to be starting at the end of the month, I mean, I think they're going to be in for a real treat for the entire night. And of course, being able to check out Atlantis as well too, like coming out just a few days before the tour starts. I mean, that's just like great timing, being able to have that release, being able to go out on tour, and just be able to finish off 2022 right.
Yeah, 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 completely. I mean, the band is definitely in a good place right now. We feel positive with where things are going. Um, you know, we've we've loved having we love the lineup we have now. I think it's very maybe the strongest lineup we've ever had, and um, yeah. Did I lose you or
Yeah, that could have been on my end as well. I'm not sure, but the
yeah,
last
I'm
part of
here.
that cut
Can
off.
you hear me?
Yes, it can.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, okay. Yeah, I was just saying that. Yeah, the band. I mean, just to kind of sum that up, the band is in a good place, and we've got a great crew. Yeah, we're feeling good, man. We're feeling good.
Oh, that's awesome, and I think that's a great note to end on. And I thank you very much again for taking the time to be able to talk to me about everything that's going on in your world, and of course, so and being able to talk about the brand new release Atlantis coming out on the 18th, the upcoming touring with Black Satellites and Notions of Slumber coming up starting on the 22nd, being able to help close out the year, and yeah, it was just a great time being able to talk to you about all of it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, Josh. It's really nice talking to you, man. Anytime.
Oh, awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. And of course, the new album whenever that gets released as well too. And of course, the touring. But again, I just want to thank you very much for taking the time to do this. I know it's a busy time with tour preparation and press and everything like that. So I appreciate the time that you took for this. I had a great time, and thank you again. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure once again. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.